Protesters blocked Maltese lawmakers from leaving Parliament on Monday, calling for the Prime Minister to resign immediately. Inside, nationalist MPs threw fake banknotes at ruling Labour members, symbolising corruption. Prime Minister Joseph Muscat has agreed to quit in the new year over his handling of a probe into the killing of investigative journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia. But for his critics, that's not soon enough. Fury has been increasing daily with allegations that government officials are connected to the murder. Those tensions spilled over outside the Parliament building.
People have the right to demonstrate, and people are demonstrating in the way they like. But the way demonstrations have gathered, they have unfortunately not allowed us to go out of Parliament.
When allowed to leave, Labour MPs were applauded by their supporters. But the issues divided the island nation. The family of the murdered journalist has filed a legal action against Muscat, asking that he desist from further involvement in the murder probe and place his own alleged involvement in the case under judicial scrutiny. Katie Dartford for Euronews.
Keith Demicoli is a journalist at TV Malta and joins me now from Valletta. Morning to you. There's clearly mounting pressure on Muscat to resign immediately. He said that he would stand down in January. What is the likelihood of that timeline being pushed forward and him going sooner than expected, sorry?
So very quickly, very unlikely, I must say. Notwithstanding the current situation, Joseph Muscat remains highly popular, at least with the Labour Party supporters. He won the last general election, a landslide win of more than almost 40,000 votes. For Maltese records, that's a huge number of votes, and he's still highly popular, as the footage just showed a few seconds ago. So that's very unlikely. And he said, for the sake of stability for the country and for the transition within the leadership of the Labour Party, he's adamant to stay on. Although he said last Monday, if not mistaken, that he's going to limit himself to the operational day-to-day basis of the current public administration. So we'll have to see. But last night, he probably gave his very last speech as Prime Minister in Parliament.
Aside from his political position, Daphne Caruana Galizia's family are calling for there to be an investigation into his role into her murder. How likely is that to happen?
It's very highly unlikely as well. We'll have to see. We haven't received any updates from the police regarding the investigation, but the family have been insisting and have been putting up pressure to the local authorities, and more recently, following the revelations on the Prime Minister himself, to remove himself from the position and from being influential in the current investigations being led by the police. But of course, we haven't heard anything since yesterday, since this judicial protest was filed by the family, asking for the Prime Minister to remove himself or being removed from the investigation, both the criminal investigation and the independent inquiry.
We're also trying to find out some information. Is the European Union, they're sending a delegation of MEPs to Malta for a 2-day sort of fact-finding mission. What are they likely to find out? Why have they prompted this investigation?
So this investigation was promptly, of course, by the recent revelations. Today it's been 2 weeks since we were struck by the revelations that possibly linking politicians and businessmen to the assassination of a journalist here in Malta, and that shocked the nation, of course. The mission, made up by 7 members of the European Parliament, led by Dutch MEP Sophie in 't Veld, will be meeting the Prime Minister himself later today, the opposition leader, the Speaker of the House, police, Justice Minister, civil society, making pressure, making sure that the justice is done and is seen to be being done, and also to make sure that rule of law there is rule of law, of course, in Malta. So they're trying to put up more pressure that so justice is done in this case.